Here we go. Hello and welcome back to another session of Gashero. Hey James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Luke. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. I tried to put up a better lineup than we had last time. Last time I had the four heroes for free, and my wife just started printing something over here, as it seems. That's really good. Uh, and yeah, now I advanced a little bit, and we want to talk about a couple of strategies that you can tell us on how I can get better, but how everyone can get better in the game, and then just talk about gas heroes on what lineups are the best, which strategy we should look onto, and how successful you guys are at the moment on Polygon as well. So yeah, maybe we just start with if you are new to the game, first thing you need to do is go to gashero.com, hit play now, and then easy create your account. You get a wallet. You put the wallet or the code, passphrase, seed phrase gets directly put into your Google account, and then you can use it on all devices, on laptop, on mobile. Your grandma can play it on her tablet or wherever you want to go. You can play it on the computer, as I do over here, which is pretty neat. So you can basically play it wherever you want. And yeah, with that being said, first of all, you have a really great tool. Now I just closed the wrong window over here. You have a really great tool on where you can see how good you are performing. And I think, where did I put? Oh, that was the wrong one. Which is Dune. Uh, and maybe we start with that because that's the most impressive.
Yeah.
What do we see over here? Maybe you are the better one explaining because there are lots of numbers, but it's really cool numbers over here.
There's so much data built into this, and kind of the beauty of Web3 is that this is all happening on the blockchain. And so we can see all of this very transparently. Up there in the top left, you see 480 million GMT worth of trading volume. That's for all 8 of the Gas Hero collections. Gas Hero started with those badges that were on Steppen, and then the badge holders got free coupons. So those were the first 2 collections. Now with the game launch, there's 6 collections in the game: the heroes and pets and weapons and the items, and then the badges are one of the end games now as well, because you can use the badge for extra energy.
Yeah,
The one right beside
I
that,
need one
yeah,
badge, but they're way too expensive.
they are not cheap. I think last time I looked, they were like $20,000 each, something like that, which is just a
Yeah,
wild amount of money. And there are a lot of people that have 3 of them on their account because it stacks up to 3 times. So normally
yeah,
you get 25% of your energy back every 6 hours. A badge means you get 30% of your energy back every 6 hours. 2 badges is 35%, and 3 badges is 40%. So those whales of the game are trying to figure out, how do you have 3 badges on 9 accounts, and then you can do your group adventures more often for that entire clan. And it's crazy the
yeah.
numbers that they calculate at the high end of the game. I think there's only 1,000 badges ever. I think only 960 something of them got ported over to Polygon. So there's a handful that are still even on Solana, but they never even brought across, which is crazy because they're just
Yeah.
giving up all that free everything. And I think of that, maybe 467 people own them. So the whales are definitely buying them up. But
There's
that
one
four,
whale that has that or had that in Sydney, and you could check
yes,
it on the
yeah,
blockchain. And we hated that guy because he won the election because he had he just rocked everything. By the way, shout out
so
to the
true.
community that just came in. Shout out also to Nam Yang, who's always here from the export community. And yeah, don't forget to like and retweet to share it with more friends. But yeah, yeah, so really big in volume, but also
Yep.
like the whole income that you have and the auction house sales.
All of
Like,
it. The way it's set up is really cool. The other thing I want to point out about the income is that it shows that 480 million in GMT. Right to the right of that is the current price of GMT. So you can multiply the 2 numbers against each other and see that it's over 125 million US dollars in trading volume. So again, those numbers and these things that we quote, it's all very transparent, very easy to see on the chain. You can see
and
exactly how much income FSL, Find Satoshi Lab, is pulling out of the game, which I think is really cool. You can see the exact amount of marketplace percentage that goes right back to the leaders in the game. So one of the things
mm,
we built that was unique with Gas Hero is that 4% of all the items that are traded on the marketplace, a pet, a weapon, a hero, whatever it is, that 4% goes right back to the leaders, the clan leaders. And guild leaders and district leaders and city leaders and the world elders, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think
Except for the
somewhere you had an
Genesis
overview
heroes.
like over 1 million in prizes.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know which one that was, but was it Guild
Yeah.
Wars?
Yeah, and we can even show you where those numbers come from, right on that dune sheet. So the part on the right there, so it's the third section down where it says the Gas Hero prize pool. The first two numbers there are what's going from the auction house directly into PvP. The third number that's there on the bottom of the screen is what's going to the leaders. If you scroll down one more notch, it breaks. Those are the three different PvP events that have happened so far. So the text is a little small, but from memory, I think the 8.8 million GMT, that's what went to the first 10 days solo Gas Wars. The next one, a little bit further down, the next one's the 5.5, yep, right there, 5.562. That went to the clan Gas Wars, which is our first group one. And then the 2.522 million GMT, that's the one that's still counting up to go to the next one. That's the guild group PvP. So literally counting up as time goes on, because these auction houses just keep going on and on and on. So millions of dollars that have gone out to both the leaders through the marketplace and then also to the PvP players through the guild wars. And it just keeps growing. It just keeps churning, which is so much
And
fun.
GMT was at a certain point, I think, at 0.33 as well. So
Yep.
if you add that up, that's like
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, yeah. And also like all the Genesis heroes. I think one Genesis hero is like 50K or something like this worth at the moment. I think
Yep.
that was one of the cheapest one. By the way, shout out to Mazina. I'm still not in your clan because you were too late on the first stream.
That's right. He tried to get you in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Genesis hero, but also gas heroes. And one hero is 1000 GMTs around, or 700 GMT at the moment. If you just calculate all the numbers that you have over here, and weapons has gone up because now you have a new feature, which we can talk while we go into the game, that you better have a weapon. We will cover that in a second.
Important.
Floor price went a little bit down. I mean, that's normal. And in the beginning, everyone was buying, and now, but I think it's stabilized around like 700-800 now, which is good. Like after how long is the game out now? 12.
4 weeks tomorrow? Is it 4 weeks tomorrow?
Yeah, 4 weeks. So. But I think the biggest hype was around the time that I joined, not because I joined, but was
I think it was all you, Luke. It was the videos you were making. And to be fair, we expect this in some ways, right? The game forces a shorter supply than there is demand of players that want to play it, right? And so you kind of anticipate that the prices will be a little higher. And if the supply keeps growing at a faster rate than what the player base is, then the prices should come down. And honestly, we don't want to speculate or try to control the prices. But if you want mass adoption of Web 2 gamers that can come in and play your game, you don't want it to have it cost them thousands and thousands of dollars to play.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that the prices normalize over the course of a season. But the beauty of this seasonal model that Johnny's built is that, if it gets stale and the meta gets stale, the world elders have a chance to reset it, and then the whole thing goes over again, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We don't know when this will happen, right? So that will be when at a certain point in game, most likely not in the next 1 or 2 weeks.
No, it can't, because it takes a certain amount of time. Like it's all on a calendar, right? And so right now we don't even have world elders. And so the world elders are going to have to spend a significant amount of GMT to get those leadership positions. And so, there's a minimum amount of time to even elect the world elders. And, because they have to spend so much GMT to become a world elder, there's a period of time that they want to try to earn some of that back. Right. And then it becomes this kind of balance in their minds of, okay, we're earning a percentage of everything in the marketplace. We're getting this income that's coming in. But at some point, if they press that button, the 7 of them, and decide, has to be unanimous, decide to reset the system, then it starts a 30-day timer. 7 days in, there's the auction house and this gas arc that shows up. And so the auction house sells these tickets, gas arc tickets, to get on the gas arc to get you your ticket into the next season. The world elders get the income from
Can
that.
I be on the vote to be a world?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you got to work your way through the leadership level, right? So
Yeah.
you want to be strong enough that you can get your clan leader and get your guild leader and get your
Yeah, but that
your
doesn't work.
district all the way up
Like
through, and then
I'm
and then it's
not
big
I'm not that
GMT
good.
donations at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that good. That's like I have a really cool clan, and Dan is our clan chief, and he does really good job at managing everything, even Discord calls and stuff like this. So I will never
Dan's
have
the
the time,
best.
I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, and as you see over here, like those are the vet shoulders. I think I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's a whale or if that's like the Steppen wallet, maybe even.
I
Uh,
think that's the internal wallet. Is it like 82
yeah,
badges on one wallet? I think that's ours. Yeah.
yeah. And then you
And
just
so
have 12, 9.
little
This guy is
secret to our
rich.
internal. Yeah, right? Yep. That
Like
might be
I want
Rain.
to.
That might
Yeah.
be Rain. Yeah.
Rain, right? And he won the last gas war, right?
He did. Yeah. Individually on just one account, he won over 300,000 US dollars. And he
Oh
plays
man.
multiple accounts. So yeah, he did well.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we jump into the game. Unless you want to cover one of the but everyone can look at this. It's on the website as well, so you can find it there if you want to have the details on all the numbers on chain. So those are numbers you can fake, which is really cool. But yeah, this is my account. I'm not Rain, so if you expect something fancy to happen right now, that's not going to happen. Yeah, but that's me. And I think there are a couple of things that changed. One thing that I really like is if you now go fight, I can check. For example, I tried it on Nightmare.
Yes.
You can just
Simulate.
simulate the battle, like, which is really cool because I lost a couple of times, and then I realized, and this will be a quick battle because I will, of course, lose over here. But yeah, that's really cool. That's a feature that you have, and
Yep.
also maybe we can go through my lineup over here, which is not
Yeah.
the best, but you see that I do something wrong over here, and I was already told by my guild I'm doing it wrong, but those were the cheapest weapons ever. But yeah, maybe we go through what I'm doing wrong over here, and you just tell me if I can change something with my setup right now.
Yeah,
Or
and the beauty with the simulation is you can actually test it in real time. Same thing with the clan boss fight, right? If you got 5 times that you can fight the clan boss, you can actually tweak it. So one of the things I learned with my lineup, I've got 2 tanks on the front row, right? And the clan boss always attacks the top one on the front row and then the bottom one on the front row. And so of the two, the bottom one, I noticed that he would get multiple misses generally before he was able to kill him. So by putting him on the top on the front row, then all the other 5 were attacking during the misses instead of one of them being gone. And I significantly increased my damage on the clan boss. Same thing you can test in the simulation, doing for AI factory into the locations. Same thing on the next row. I had my uncommon on the top middle, and I had a common on the bottom middle. So the uncommon would get knocked out first by moving the uncommon down. So even just switching, who's on the top and bottom of certain rows,
I did
switching,
that with those two guys. I had them on
yeah.
top. He was or she was done like
Black
real
Sapphire,
quick,
yeah. Black Sapphire is
and
that's a meta hero. That's a really good
yeah,
code name.
yeah,
Probably
he's
one of the most popular. One of the definitely top 3. For the first, I don't even know how many weeks. First 3 weeks, it was the top selling, most popular. Probably Deadly Nightshade just behind. Now
yeah.
we've got Devil and a couple others, Devil's Follower that are really popular. But Black Sapphire is always way up
Death
there.
Hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Death Hand's so cool looking. Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw a couple of people, they post regular updates as well on like what's trending, what's the
Yeah.
floor price and everything. So you can check everything there. If you just type in Gas Hero or playing Gas Hero, just scroll through the hashtags and you will find lots of cool stuff. But what you realize over here as well is I started,
A few
what is
days
it,
in.
17 days ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we started with 20, right?
Yeah.
With 20 days, so 17, and now it's time to think also of a strategy on what to do next. And one thing that you can do is breed more heroes, right?
Absolutely.
What I already prepared over here, luckily for today, we can breed one hero, and now you all have to pray in order for me to get at least an uncommon. So what do I need to look after if I want to breed? Is there a specific like goal of do I put
Yeah.
him with her or with her or
Yeah. Great
Like,
question. So this is my thought on breeding, right? And this goes back to the step-in days, and this makes a big difference on your profitability. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they look at the amount of hero potion, the amount of gas cans, and the amount of GMT it costs to do a breed for, let's say, two common heroes, right? First thing you got to understand is depending on how many times each one is bred before, the cost to breed goes up.
yeah, I hate
Similarly,
that.
with higher rarity, the cost goes up, right? And so a virgin with a virgin, they're both 0 of 7, would be the same price as if they're both 1 of 7, or if one is a 0 and one is a 1. As soon as they have two breeds or more, that cost starts going up. Or if they're an uncommon or a rare, the cost goes up, right? The other thing that makes a massive difference, and this is a big mistake people do when they try to calculate ROI. I kind of hate that term, but it's one that's really common in Web3. They look at what's
Mm.
the cost in resources that they could sell the resources or buy the resources and use them to breed, and what's the value of the NFT that comes out of it. And what they do is they often look at the floor, like you just did, and they go, okay, what's the least expensive hero on the floor, right?
Mm.
And to me, that would be the least ineffective way to breed. What we learned back in the stepping days is that if runners, common runners, were trading on the floor, right, and it costs the same price to mint two common runners together with a high chance that you get a runner as a baby, that's not going to be as profitable as if you take, let's say, two joggers that trade at a higher value and you get a jogger baby out of it. And then there's
No.
a percent of the time, and you've got a good sheet that'll show you that. It's the third tab over, where you can get twins or you can get a higher rarity that comes out of it as well, right? Same thing in Gashero. So if I see that I've got two floor priced heroes, two floor priced code names, and I breed
Mm.
them together, sometimes the cost of two floor priced code names is going to give you a baby, right? That's going to trade at the floor. And that's not nearly as profitable as if you take the ones that are popular. So we just talked about Black Sapphire being popular. And that's one of the ones you have as an option. So if 40% of the time that Black Sapphire is going to return a Black Sapphire baby, then that's oftentimes going to give you a higher result, right? If you then breed that Black Sapphire with a Deadly Nightshade that you know has also got a much higher floor price, now 80% of the time you're going to get either a Black Sapphire or a Deadly Nightshade. Then there ends up being
Mm.
a small percentage of the time when you might get twins, or you might actually get like an uncommon or a
Is
higher
it
rarity that
is it
comes out of
true
that mint.
that twins are more often happening on zero and
No,
zero, or
no, it's not true. And it's actually built into that calculator. So if you want to bring up that spreadsheet that you have and go over to the third tab, I can actually show you the exact numbers. You know what I'm talking about? Yep. So on the bottom, third tab over is the breeding simulator. So here you can see you got a common and a common. Go ahead and put the third row down there, which has 2 and 2, put it at 0 and 0, and let's read off the percentages. See, right now, it looks like it's on
uh,
row 6. Row 6, put
this
it at
one?
0 and 0. Yep, or put it at 1 and 1, whatever the lowest is. We'll scroll up to 0. 1 and 1. There you go. So you can see your twin probability is at 5.0. So now put it at 2 and 2, and then 3 and 3. And what I want you to do is look at the percentage that you get twins. So the way that's programmed, that was the exact same way with Steppen. The more breeds that you have, that the parent has, the more expensive it becomes to do another breed, but the higher your chance that you actually get twins out of it, which makes
Mm.
it fun. So there's some benefit. Oftentimes, depending on the floor price of the heroes at that window, it's not cost effective to keep breeding at 3 and 4 and 5 and beyond. But when you have these massive periods of player growth and the floor price of the NFTs go way up, then sometimes it could be for certain code names and certain times worth trying to push it higher.
Hmm. Yeah, those
Yep.
spreadsheets are really nice. I don't know. Dan posted it in our guild, but whoever did that, shout out to you. That's really cool. You can also put in here like for the lineup, and then you see which
Yeah.
fits best and everything. And I think you can donate over here. So if
Yep.
you want to
Yep.
donate to whoever did that, feel
Great
free
member
to
of the
do.
community that built this for us too. A really
Yeah.
cool person. Yeah.
You can also check the floor prices and
Hmm.
calculate them based on like if it's more, as you said, like if it's more feasible to like go for hero cans. We use that, for example, for the clan adventure. If we want to go
Yeah.
for weapon fragments or like depending on the floor price.
Sure.
So that's really cool feature to have over here.
Very
But yeah,
cool. Yeah.
in the
So it's
game now.
TLDR, what you kind of want to think of big picture, right? If there are certain NFTs that trade at a higher value. And the way that you can kind of narrow this down is the things that you would want to have yourself, right? So if you go, oh man, I really want an uncommon black sapphire, I really want an uncommon deadly nightshade. They trade at a much higher floor price as a common, even better as an uncommon. Then those are the ones that'll be more profitable for you to breed together. If you have one of those, then you tend to want to breed it with the one that's the most rare on the other side. In the
Hmm.
early days, the support heroes tended to be more near the floor price, and any tanks and damage were up higher. Now it's more certain code names that trade much higher. There's the Devil's Follower that's way up there. Black Sapphire is. Ape Commander's way up there. The Deadly Nightshade. There's certain support heroes that really stand out. Faith Healer, Praying Nun, High Priestess. There's the two that can stun, the Rocket Scientist and the Telekinetic Women. There's
Which is
certain
good
ones,
for the boss, right?
and good in
Because that's
PvP as
also
well. Yeah,
that's a good tactic, right?
yeah,
If you because the
absolutely.
boss is just one person, if you stun them more often, then you can get in more damage. So that's
Yep,
what I already
absolutely.
learned. Right?
Makes a
And
difference. So if you're
this one
picking
over
and you're trying
here,
to, yeah,
this one over
yeah,
here also has a high floor price, which
yes,
I still need to get because, like, whenever I checked, that's I think one of the best tanks that you can have over here,
it's
Unstoppable
a good one.
Force.
Yeah,
I saw that a couple of times, but it was too expensive. Now it's like getting affordable, but that's already bred, I think, a couple of times. But yeah,
yep. And
so
there's a couple visual indicators there on more that can be really helpful. So if you look at the top of the card for each one of those, you see how there's the little yellow lines that are up there, and for some of
mhm.
them, there's a yellow line that goes all the way across the top. If it's a full yellow line, that's the time until it can be bred again. So the ones with a full yellow line are ready to breed again right away. And then there's a
Ah.
segmented line, and that has to do with how many skills have been unlocked, right? And so what I like to do sometimes is if I've got extra GMT in my wallet, maybe I just sold something and I'm playing around, I can actually come in here and I can buy a couple floor priced NFTs or a couple that are undervalued that are ready to breed right away. You can breed them, get your baby, and then list them immediately back on the marketplace, sometimes at the same exact price. And it's almost like you got that breed, for something that you didn't have to wait for.
You know, World of Warcraft, I spent 90% of
Fun.
my time in the auction house, like
Yes. Yes.
buying and selling stuff for 19 PvP because like they put it in because they got it out of like the beginners instances. So I went in there, saw it for one gold, put it in for 50 because some dude came in and like, oh, I want to have a
That's
twink.
it.
And then like that's by the
It's
way, shout
fun.
out to Savage Studios over here as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so check the skills that are unlocked as well because I bought one with 0 unlocked in the first place because I had no clue. Now I bought one that has 4 unlocked. So the dude that sold
Huge.
it to me had no clue, apparently, which is
Nice.
good.
Yes.
So what would you recommend me for breeding over here? So I have like I really like both. I have
They're both
the
great. Black Sapphire, if you've got a rare one on both ends, that's the one that's more likely to get you a baby that's worth more right now. On that
hmm,
end, I would probably go High Priestess. Um, yeah, I think that's probably a good combination.
yeah, I think so too.
Yep.
And I got lucky and got a uncommon. No, what is the second
Yeah, uncommon, the green.
uncommon?
Yeah.
I got a green one, sold it, and bought 3 other ones plus some
Perfect.
cans. So
Yep.
okay, let's check.
Come on, let's
Drum
go.
rolls.
High
Okay,
Priestess. There you go.
that's good, but there's still possibility for twins, right? No, oh damn it. Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
And now you see that the price got up, right? So since they both have been bred now, the price goes up for the cans and the hero potions, and also for the GMT that you need to put in. Um, yeah. So and now it's the cool thing is it's getting into my wallet under hero. So you have it in your wallet, and with every hero that you have in your wallet, the energy level rises
Yep.
up to 20, I think. Then
I think it's
or
20 for the base construction vehicle and then 24 that you can get for the heroes, or it's the other way around. 24 for the base construction vehicles, 20 for the heroes. So it gets you to 44 total as a max that you can get from heroes in the BCV. And then you can upgrade your BCV.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So now it would make sense to put it. So you need to have level 10 in order to breed.
Yes.
So usually I just have 4 cans because I just
There
save
you
for
go.
this
Get a
one.
skill.
And the good thing is, whenever you upgrade and you get a skill, that's already good. Let's see. Okay, for those, I wasn't that lucky. I think I need to fight. I still have a little energy left. And there was a question also from the community, um, the energy. So you can have
Yes.
the badges in order to
Yes.
get what did you say, like
A
20,
bonus. So
a
normally it's
bonus.
25% of your energy every 6 hours. So
Hmm.
25, 25, 25, 25, that would be 100%. What the Gas Hero badge does is you actually bring it into your account. And for each Gas Hero badge you hold, you get a 5% bonus. So one badge would light up that first rocket, and then you get 30% every 6 hours, which is really 120% for the day. If you get two
Hmm.
badges, then it's 35% every 6 hours. And you got three badges, it's 40% every 6 hours.
Okay,
So
send them
40
to
times
me
four.
for
Yeah, it really is good.
presentation purposes. You send
That's
some to
it.
me, and then we can show that here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there was also a question from one of my guild members that said, "Will there be another way on how we can get the energy level up, like through Steppen? Maybe also will there be a connection through Steppen, and like except for the badge, like you could walk in order to get more energy? Will there be something maybe?"
It's a fun idea. There's nothing currently in the plans, but never say never. That there's
Hmm.
always a possibility that there's some kind of a badge, some kind of a something. If you go to your profile, you see there's a spot for badges there, and there's always an opportunity that there could be some kind of something that those badges do. Who knows?
Give me badges. Uh, yeah. By the way, there's also that's what Dan said as well. So after you breed, there's a 24-hour cooldown now, so you cannot like. I think
Ooh,
that's what you
new.
said as well
That's
with
new. Yeah.
taking some, breeding them, putting them back on the marketplace, and doing some fancy stuff. There's
Yep. So you
now
can still buy it and you can still
yeah.
breed it, but then if you want to immediately relist it, you just have to wait a little while.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in order to get more energy, what you should do is not like I have it over here. Thanks, Dan, as well. You need to put it in, not in your wallet. You need to have it in the game, right? So I lock
Yes.
it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that always takes a couple of seconds. You need to have Matic in your wallet. I think one Matic will last
More than
for
cover it. It
a
doesn't
couple of
cost a
weeks.
lot. Yeah. And
Uh,
the way the game's designed, if you ever run automatic, it just auto converts some over to it for you.
hmm. And I can level up my base.
For more
Uh,
energy. Absolutely. Yep.
How do I level up my base? That will go in the
So
background as well, right? I can close that.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Come back to it. If you hit the back button and then hit that lab button where you bred.
The base.
Yep. So here you've got your base up top and then the four buttons at the bottom. And so up top, 400 of the gas cans would take that from level 1 to level 2. This is what also shows your level that's underneath your profile icon. And
Mm,
so for every level that you take up your base, you're getting extra energy. The interesting part about this, it feels expensive, right? In early days now. But the earlier you do it in the season, the more benefit you get out of it over the course of a season. I'm looking at taking mine all the way up to level 5, and I'm forecasting forward that I can even buy those gas cans off the market and get the benefit back over the course of time, especially if you've got an all uncommon team or an all rare team. But even with an all common team, you can run the numbers and see if that makes sense for you. One of the cool things about this upgrading the BCV is along with the Genesis heroes that carry over from season to season. The Genesis heroes get re-rolled. The other two things that carry over from season to season are a percentage of your upgraded base construction vehicle. I think it explains it in the white paper. I don't want to
mm.
be misquoted, but I want to say 80% of your upgrades the BCV carry over. Somebody verify that on the white paper for me. But it's either all of it or it's a very high percentage of it that carries over. And the other thing is the upgrades to your skill tree. So as you recycle the heroes and upgrade your skill tree, those get carried over from season to season as well.
By the way, the white paper is really cool. It's gamified and like so. If you want to know anything, just go in here. It's really like it's just cool. You did a good job on that as well. So if you want to read something about the game, just check the white paper or ask Grouchy Dan or some of the guys from the community. They know most likely better than the white paper. So yeah, okay. So now, since I started like almost 2 weeks ago, my heroes are all about to die or
Yes.
like
So now you got to
at a
optimize that lineup and know what you want to do if you replace them, right?
at a verge of dying. So,
Yeah.
what should I like with recent changes? Also, the weapons and the pets have more influence on the skills of the heroes, right? So, can you
Absolutely
explain a little
do.
bit
And
how
the
this one
rarities
works?
as well. Yeah. Yeah. So you want to, the most that you can, try to get a weapon and a pet on the heroes. In the past, we saw a lot of beginning players that would maybe leave their front row heroes, oftentimes those tanks, with no weapons because they could still fight with their fists and still do pretty good damage. But then the back row and the middle row, they oftentimes would put weapons so they could attack all the different rounds. Now,
And don't put
if you
a sword there because that doesn't make sense. I
doesn't
just
work as
put a
well. Not until the one in front of it dies and moves up. So
yeah.
the way that it works with a pet, if your hero doesn't take a pet, then the incoming damage I think is 200%. So it's taking double the incoming damage, right?
Hmm.
If your hero has a weapon that is a lower rarity than the hero, let's say it's an uncommon hero with a common weapon, or it's a rare hero with an uncommon weapon, then you're doing less outgoing damage and getting additional incoming damage. So when you start to run these calculations and think about, okay, I'm going to replace these heroes, I'm going to recycle them and get those skill points. What I want to replace them with, you want to start to think about, oh, I could go buy uncommons or I could go buy rares, but can I get a rare pet and a rare weapon to match that rare? Or does it make more sense for me to build an all uncommon team or an all common team? And that has to all kind of go into your calculation of what do you have that you're able to put in and how do you want to play it. For my money, having all your heroes have pets and weapons, and ideally all the heroes have pets and weapons that are at least the same rarity as the
Hmm.
the heroes themselves, is with it. Is
So all
absolutely
common
worth it.
in my in my lineup because I don't have that cool of a lineup. But yeah, just reach
Still
for
a
the
cool
stars
lineup. You got some great
and
ones in there. That High
and
Priestess is back on the
you
top
build
top
up,
left.
right?
Yeah, and you
So
build up. And that's the fun of the game, right? If you were to go out
yeah.
today and build the perfect lineup with the perfect everything, then for the next 20, 30 days, you're just farming the same thing over and over. Building it up over time, I think, is part of what makes the game fun to
Hmm.
do.
Yeah, that's
Getting
what
those
I'm
breeds.
trying
Yeah.
at the moment. Like as you see over here, for example, I took this one, equipped the weapon because it said over here that I have
Yes.
a weapon skill, but then I thought like I just can't put it in the second row, which doesn't make sense. So now if I go fighting, which we can do because I still need to have more cans over here as well, but not a nightmare, that will not work. So
No.
I'm on
No.
easy 3, and I saw videos of people with 2 in the lineup, but they had uncommons with good weapons and a pet, and they could do like easy 4, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing wrong over here? But then I realized they have cool pets and weapons and everything,
Yep.
and then I started doing that as well to look for weapons. Unfortunately, I took the cheapest ones off the marketplace and just attached them there. But yeah, so you see, for example, this dude over here, he's not fighting. She's also, and that's a she. I thought that's a he when I wanted to breed him.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a she. Pretty manly she, but nowadays you get that. So, so those two cannot fight. He cannot fight as well. She can fight because she has a weapon which is on distance, right? So, are there different weapons for each of the rows over here, which I should consider?
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you want to pop back up the white paper, I'll steer you to the section that it actually gives you a good visual and makes this really easy to see.
Uh,
There you go.
go to weapons,
I
most
think you want to
likely
go to
somewhere.
assets. Yeah. And then go to troop assets. Yeah. And start scrolling down. You're going to see some visuals where it looks like the heroes. Keep going. Actually, it might be under fighting. We'll see. Yeah, I might have took you the wrong place.
Here's weapons.
Nope, that's it. Is that it?
No,
Scroll up a
that's
little more.
recycling.
Yeah, I think the actual ones where it shows the weapons in the lineup.
Yeah.
Go back to assets.
Combat, right? And
It might be
then
combat troops. Yeah, try
uh,
combat troops. Yep, I think that's it. Scroll down. Yep, there you go.
yeah, here.
So if you hover over the ones to the left, the first 3, there you go. So you can see the first 3, it puts blue circles on the 2 heroes on the front row. So to have just your fists, to have a dagger, or to have a sword, that's a short range weapon that'll act from the front row. Now, if you go a little bit to the right with the cursor, that's your axe and your hammer. That can attack from either the front row or the middle row. So we consider that a mid range weapon. and go a little bit more to the right. Now you've got your bow and your book and your sword and your not sword and your staff. These are all your long range weapons, so they can attack from any of the rows. But if you have anything on the third row, they have to have those long range weapons. Now, in addition to that, if you scroll down a little bit further, then you got your weapon targeting. So you can see that the way that these weapons will target the enemies on the other side. Some weapons will always kind of in a set pattern attack the other ones one by one by one. Others have that ability to potentially attack any of them on the other side. And this kind of fits in with the actual attributes and skills that you unlock. So there's certain heroes like a Devil's Follower that has the ability every second attack to do 107% damage to one of the heroes on the other team's back row, which can help you wipe out support heroes on the other team. And we can go into later why, even though Devil's Follower is a damage type that's often on the middle row, it actually recommends he has a bow instead of the axe and hammer because of that ability to attack on the back row. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
yeah,
fun.
most likely when you go to higher levels, then there's like a whole strategy of mind thinking, like, okay, maybe he puts his support heroes on the back, they can heal, like take him out, then fuck him up pretty easy. Yeah, I am not at that stage yet, but never say never. That will come most likely in the future. So
Love it.
okay, I'm
Yep.
still fighting Obi. So the
Perfect.
book is good because it randomly attacks
From the back.
one
Yep.
of the guys over here. The weapon is good for her. This wasn't the smartest choice. Putting that would have be good in the front row, but I tried that out.
Still
and
can't attack. Nobody in front of her, right? But until that Black Sapphire dies, that's when her whole row will move up, and then she'll be able to attack with that sword.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting how that works. And that way, sometimes having who's on your top and who's on the bottom of your row makes a difference, even when you simulate the fights.
And that makes a lot of difference also in the clan boss fights, for example, because if the back row is equipped, then you can make either longer damage or heal for longer time.
Yep.
And that accumulates over time, of course. So totally makes sense.
Makes a huge difference. Yep.
And some of the weapons have like, so there's a difference between the skills, right, of the weapons.
Yeah. So I can go through. I've got kind of 7 core tenets that I've built of how to build an optimized lineup. So that'll play into it. So if you want to bring back up your troop screen and show your lineup, I'll kind of go through them. The first one is if you were to click on any of these heroes and look at the skills. So scroll down a little bit. So it's got the skill circles. That second skill that you unlock, and this is commonly unlocked on all your commons and almost always unlocked on all your uncommons and rares. This is an added bonus that comes from having multiple heroes in the same lineup that are from the same faction, right? And so my first tenet to an optimized lineup is when you can, you want to try to have as few different factions as your lineup as possible, because that second skill is going to give them all bonuses. A real popular meta lineup right now is to have 3 spirits and 3 evos, but it's even possible to have all 6 from spiritual. So spiritual, I think, has 2 tanks and maybe 3 damage and 4. I don't remember the exact numbers. I can look it up. I think it's 2 tanks, Ascetic Monk and Blessed Kid for spiritual. It's got 3 damage. It's got Junior Shifu, Meditating Master, and Devil's Follower, and then I think 4 support. Yeah, it's got Praying Gun, High Priestess, 3 support. So 3, 3, and 2. So you actually all within one faction field your entire lineup. And so that's interesting because then they'd all get that bonus from having somebody that matches. My preferred lineup actually has 3 that are from 2 different factions. And so split up. So that'd be my first tenet. Think about, limiting. You don't want 6 heroes from 6 different factions. That won't give you.
I have 3 from Evolutionist, so that's still okay, I think.
They're all getting that bonus. Yep. And as they start to die off, then you can think as you replace them, what do you want to replace them with? My second tenet would be those categories, right? So those are the tanks, the damage type, and the support. The meta right now, most people are putting 2 tanks on the front row. They're putting 2 damage types on the middle row, and they're putting 2 support on the back row. And that seems to be the most popular. But there could be times at which you want to build a team that's got 2 tanks up front. Maybe it's got 3 support and 1 damage. Maybe you start to think about the features that they have and how we mix and match these skills together. But 2, 2, and 2 seems to be a very popular one.
So the lineup that I would have right now would be fine if I would equip all of those guys with weapons, because I have 2 tanks, 2 damage, and 2 support because they both heal. that would make sense if I would have the right weapons.
Absolutely.
Okay, but
Absolutely.
it doesn't make sense because they don't have the weapons. I tested it out, so it make more sense to put her there for whatever reason, even though she's a healer. But yeah,
Yep.
okay. So tanks, damage, healers makes
Healer.
sense. Yeah.
That's it. Tenet number 3 is that especially once you start getting up to the higher rarity of heroes, but maybe even for commons, it might make sense to max upgrade your heroes before you equip them to the lineup, because once they're max upgraded, you see how many skills they get unlocked. And you'll find that the heroes with at least 3 skill unlocks are worth a whole lot more than the ones that only have 1 or 2. And that when you can get that 4th skill and that 5th skill and beyond, it can mean so much. The 3rd skill is always the weapon, so you get a bonus to the weapon. The 5th skill is always the pet, so you get a bonus for a certain type of pet. And so the thing that I've started doing is that I max upgrade my heroes to see how many skills get unlocked before I decide if I'm going to add them to the lineup or not,
Or sell them.
or sell them. And if it only unlocks 1 or 2 skills, sell that common NFT and then get another one of the same code name and max upgrade it
Damn
and see.
it.
Yep.
0
0
over
skills
here.
is really uncommon. Is he max up? He's just level 1. That's why you've not upgraded him yet. Yeah, once you upgrade, you'll know. So that's my third tenet. Especially when you have those more rare, the uncommons and the rare. The fourth tenet would be try to match your weapon type and what row you want to put that hero on to the skills that unlock. So if you get that 3rd skill unlocked, right, and it's going to be a damage, you want to make sure it's got that hammer or that axe, right? If it's on the front row, and the 3rd one is for that dagger or that sword, make sure you get the dagger or sword on it, so that way you get that benefit. And then also think about that as you match that weapon to it, how many attributes the weapon also has. So what you'll find is, as you look through the weapons, some weapons have 3 attributes unlocked. Some weapons have 4 attributes unlocked, right? As you get to the uncommons and the rares, even more so. That one's got what? That was 5 attributes that are unlocked. Now, when you re-roll these weapons, it doesn't actually re-roll the number of attributes or even the type of attribute. It just re-rolls the number within that range, right? So it might say, okay, this first attribute, it could have a number between 9 and 12. You're currently at 9.5. So you got a chance to re-roll it and get actually a higher value that comes out of it. So if you can get at a similar floor price or sometimes paying a premium, it's worth it to get a weapon that matches the 3rd skill that unlocks for each hero, making sure that the hero has those 3rd skills that unlocked, and then also has 4 attributes instead of 3 potentially. Can make a massive difference.
She's a sword master, so I
Yes.
attached a sword, which makes sense, but it didn't make sense because she's in the 2nd row. But let's not talk about this anymore. Yeah, so
you're good.
Yeah,
so that's my 4th tenet. My 5th tenet is very similar. It's matching that pet. So if you do get that 5th skill unlocked, that's the pet, you absolutely want to match the pet so that you get that added bonus. And very similar with the pets, as you get up to the higher levels, you'll see this as well. So if you do uncommon, a level 2 pet, what you'll see is all uncommon level 2 pets have the exact same attributes. They match perfectly. Click through them. See the numbers right there? See how there's 3 of them? Exact same, right? And so every panda will have the exact same 3 attributes with the exact same 3 values. Every tree will have the same. Every crab will have the same. But now as you bump up to a tier 3 or a level 3 pet, you'll see they have 4 attributes unlocked instead of 3, right? So move that up. Yep. And now reselect uncommon again. There you go. And see how they'll have 4 and they'll all match. They'll all be exactly the same within that type. So the trees all have 4 and they're all the same. So it's very similarly where you might want weapons with 4 attributes instead of 3. You might want pets with 4 attributes instead of 3. And then you can try to make this mathematical calculation in your mind. I'm buying pets to go on my heroes. You can buy the low-level pets, and then you can evolve them and upgrade them, maybe even get their rarity bumped up within the game. Or if it doesn't make sense to spend that much on the evolution cookies and maybe additional pets to infuse in, then you can just go ahead and buy the higher level pet up front. So that would be my 5th tenet.
So the pet needs to, how do I make sure that the pet matches the hero?
The 5th skill. So if you go to the 5th skill, if that one's unlocked, it tells you what kind of pet gets a bonus.
Holding a plant type pet, for example. So I go to the marketplace or I can try my luck somewhere else and get that. And then I just look for Is that a plant?
Yep.
That's a
Yep.
plant, right?
Yeah.
So look for here and say, and those is level 1 would already start working, right? So I don't need to go to level
If
2.
that fifth skill's unlocked, then that matching pet, even at level 1, gives you that bonus. The fifth skill's not unlocked, you're not going to get a bonus for it, right? And so then you have some flexibility in what pet you pick. Yeah,
Okay.
so that comes into more in play more with the higher rarity. It looked like you had one common that had 5 unlocked, but that's a rare thing to have happen. There you go.
That was the first one that I got.
Yep.
Maybe I was lucky, or you did something magically behind
Could
them, I
be.
guess.
I gave you the advanced developer cheater code. Yep.
Yeah, most likely
Yep.
that happened. So I could put a crab in here, and then
And
I
get a
would get.
15% bonus. Yep.
Yeah, but since I only have 3 days left,
That makes sense. It probably
so
doesn't make sense at this
if he
point, but
dies, the weapons and the pets that are
die
attached to
with.
the hero, they die,
Yes.
but I can recycle them, right? Or are they?
You recycle the hero and you get hero skill. I'm trying to think if when you recycle the pet and the weapon, if you get any stuff back. Do you get reforging materials back from the weapon when the weapon recycles? I don't think I did.
I
I don't
never
think I did.
I never been in that position that I could
I
recycle one
just
of
did.
those.
I just recycled 4 of mine, but I don't think I got any weapon reforging material back.
Okay,
I think I've gotten all that
maybe
from
someone
the
in the
auction house and
community
other
can tell
places.
us if they had that already, and yeah, but
If I
I'm
did
also
get
not
it, I
sure.
didn't notice it, which is
Mm,
possible. I can always look in my inventory to see if it's there.
mm.
So we talked about tenet number 1 is to try to minimize the number of factions you have in your lineup. 2
Crouchy then
max is
says
probably a
no,
good
so
no. I
he
didn't think
knows.
so, Dan. Yep. Tenet number 2 is the categories 2, 2, and 2. Or 2 tanks, 3 damage, 1
Mm,
support, or 2 tanks, 1 damage, 3 support. There's ways to kind of play that. Tenet number 3, max upgrade your heroes before you put them in the lineup to see how many skills get unlocked, and then consider selling off ones that have low numbers of skills and swapping out. Tenet
mm,
number 4, matching the weapon. Tenet number 5, matching the pet. Tenet number 6, for me, this is looking at the featured skill of each one of the heroes, right? And so as you
mm,
build a lineup, thinking about what the featured skill is, the featured skill is usually that first node, right? And so on the front row of your 2 tanks, maybe one of them is going to have defense max for 20% extra defense, and the other one's going to have HP max for 20% more HP, right? On your middle row, your 2 damage types, maybe you're going to have one that's going to have like a slow single attack. So every second attack, it does 175% more damage to a single enemy. And the other one, the one I like, Devil's Follower, that's popular right now, it's got the vampiric group attack. So for every second attack, it does 107% damage to the back row. And that gives you ability to knock out the other player in PvP, knock out their
mm,
support characters early on, which is a lot of fun.
mm.
This really comes into play when you start thinking about your support heroes, right? So let's say you've got one support hero that does a slow single heal. You got another support hero that does an instant single heal. Maybe you
This
got
one.
another support hero. Yeah, absolutely. You got another support hero that maybe has that ability to stun the enemy, either the boss or somebody on the other PvP team for 4 seconds. It's how do you want to mix and match these featured skills to get the best benefit for your lineup? How do you mix and match them for the pets and weapons and where they're at in the lineup? I'll give you an example. The Devil's Follower is a damage type that goes on the middle row most often. In the middle
Mm,
row, you'd think to give them an axe or a sword, but the Devil's Follower has a recommendation of a bow. But that special featured skill is that 100% damage to the back row of the other team. So the bow lets it attack that back row, where the sword and the hammer doesn't. So oftentimes, the ones that are recommended in the skill trees for the heroes end up being the ones that are the most optimal for those heroes. Although, and this kind of goes into Tenet 7, there might be times at which going off meta or trying to fight and build a team specifically against a certain meta might benefit you. So the team that
mm,
I've built has Black Sapphire and Ape Commander up front, my 2 tanks. I've got Deadly Nightshade and Devil's Follower in the middle, and I've got Faith Healer and Praying Down on the back. That's a very popular meta lineup. But there's nothing stopping Grouchy Dan from going, what if I were to build a team that instead of 2, 2, and 2 tanks, damage, and support, I want to have a slow heal, an instant heal, and then maybe a stun. So I'm going to go with 3 support, and then I'm going to do a Devil's Follower and 2 tanks up front. And so my 3 support are going to keep me healed and keep James stunned until my Devil's Follower takes out his 2 support on his back row. I didn't
Hmm.
have to do much damage, but now that his supports are gone, now I can slowly damage him the rest of the way. And because I overpowered or came something that's off meta, maybe I beat him. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that there aren't um, Gas Wars lineups where it's 6 tanks or 6 support or 6 damage or 3 support instead of 2 or 1 support instead of 2. So there are ways
Someone will
to
figure it out, right?
yeah,
Like the
yeah, because
right
they'll figure
meta
out, hey, this
behind
is the
it.
popular lineup people are using. What's a good team that fights specifically against that lineup? Yeah,
So you said you had the this one, the praying nun, in your
I
lineup
do.
as
I
well.
do. Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
Praying Nun has the ability to single instant heal. So every second
Mm.
attack, it does 123% heal to the lowest ally. The Faith
Mm.
Healer every second, it does 30% over 5 seconds, so it slow heals. The 2 that do the stun are your Rocket Scientist and Telekinetic Woman. Every third, they do that 4 second stun. There's the High Priestess that does that group instant heal. So every
Yeah, I have
second
that.
attack, it does 24% to all 6 in your lineup. So you might be thinking, right? If I've got one that does single instant heal and one does single slow heal, maybe I'm better to only have one that does a single heal. I'm already healing the one that's lowest. So maybe I have one that's single instant and one that's group instant. Maybe I have one that's single slow and one that's group instant, right? How do you mix and match those featured skills to be best? So now you've got the ability to try to pick, right? How many factions do you want on your team? How many, from each category, max upgrade to see how many skills unlock, match your weapons, match your pets, look at those featured skill. And then that 7th tenet, that final one, is to then think about the meta and how might I be able to go off meta to maybe compete against certain teams in a way that gives me an advantage. Another
Mm.
thing that a lot of people are starting to think about is, what does it mean to you to optimize your lineup? And so for some people, that's okay. I want to try to beat easy level 6. What's the least amount of money I can spend? What's the least amount of heroes, the least amount of
Yeah.
pets, the least amount of weapons to beat this level of solo PvE? For other people, the optimized lineup might be, what's the most competitive I can be in solo PvP? What's the most competitive I can be to beat a clan boss to win the clan chief position? What's the most competitive I can be in group PvP? And so you sometimes people will try to build an all-in-one lineup that can do all those things, and other times people will specialize it to say, PvP I'm not as concerned about. I don't have enough heroes and enough GMT to build something that can even wipe out an entire line or multiple lines in a group adventure. I just want to be able to consistently beat easy 5 every time or consistently beat easy 6. So maybe I can build a 4-hero lineup or a 3-hero lineup or a 5-hero lineup that can do that. And so what's the least expensive heroes and pets and weapons I can do to achieve this level? Kind of fun.
There's also like really a lot of those like dudes that say like, hey, with that you like, as you said, ROI is a term that, I mean, you should have fun in the game, but ROI is something I'm looking at as well from time to time. And it
Sure.
just puts one dude in there and says like, okay, if you spend that amount of money for it, then like that's the perfect lineup for an ROI, for example. Just having one dude
Yeah.
in there. So
Yeah.
I think people will figure out a way. But also, like you also changed that you need more gas cans. And adjusted the breeding and with the 24-hour cycle and everything.
Yep.
Uh, so I mean that's part of game development, right? People will always
Exactly.
find a way on how to fuck with the system. If we speak with my game designer, he's always like, "Yeah," and then they now changed it with this, and now he's just breeding level 1 dudes, selling them off, and
Yep.
that's working. Then we put a cap on that, and then they figure out another way. That's part of the game. But
It's a
for
cat and
example,
mouse game. Yeah. And
right?
internally at FSL, across all of our products, this includes our marketplace, we firmly believe that there's no right or wrong way to play our games or trade in our marketplace or to do something, right? And so if there's somebody quote unquote cheating, it's on us to develop the game and design the systems better to make every way legal to play, right?
Mhm.
And so, with the Steppen app, what we actually do is we create what's called a Turing score. So if you go out with 5 phones in one pocket at the same time and you're cheating, then your Turing score lowers for a bot-like activity, and then you got to go do human activity to kind of fight your way back up to being legit, right? Similarly, in Gas Hero, People want to do multiple accounts. That's okay. People want to try to do just one base construction vehicle and the 4 free heroes, and they want to figure out, how do I make enough to profit off of this to where I don't ever have to buy any heroes, or they want to play with one hero or whatever it is. So we're always trying to look at how do we balance the tokenomics to achieve multiple goals, right? One of them, the primary goal, the one that's the most important, is that the tokenomics have to be balanced in such a way that the player base can continue to grow and that the game can succeed and stay balanced and work for seasons and seasons and years to come. Another core tenet, I'm using that word probably too much, but we want to make sure that somebody can get just a single hero and they can progress in the game. Like, what's your ability with a single hero to upgrade that hero, potentially get a pet or a weapon at the end of that hero's lifespan to be able to replace that hero and then some, right? You got to be able to play with a low number of heroes and progress in the game. And then similarly, right, at the high end, you got an all uncommon team. You've got an all, rare team, whatever it is. Like, how does that stuff balance out and play in really interesting ways?
Yeah, we saw that in the the one thing that I wanted to show over here was the this is the lineup that I saw with two
Yes.
heroes,
One
like
uncommon and one common.
one uncommon,
Yeah.
one common, and
Yeah.
like one pet, two weapons, and he beats easy 5. And I'm sitting here on
Nice.
easy 3, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Why can he beat that? But then I figured, like, okay, that's most likely the perfect damage combo that you can have in order to
It's a
kill those
tank up
guys
front
really
and a
fast,
damage type behind. Yep.
right?
Both
So
are able
he's
to
just
attack. Mm-hmm.
doing massive damage. Most likely his dude over here gives him some dodge or something like this. So yeah, so figure out a way, or like just Google, and with Google I mean go to Twitter, type in Gashero, and then you will
Yeah.
find, like, I went through that before we started the stream, just to check on what I should do maybe, and it's
Mm-hmm.
worth it. Like, there are some cool posts over here.
There's a lot of stuff.
Also,
Yeah.
what I like is all those overviews from the community as well, with like how to unlock skill trees, and I think that's the one, like, look at the rarity,
Yeah. It's a lot of what
skills,
I
they
described. Yeah.
like really nice. Also floor prizes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So just type in Gashero and you find lots of cool stuff. Also stuff from the community, which is really cool. I think you have a lot of turnover from the Steppen guys, and they already were pretty good in showing their stuff, like doing videos
No
while
doubt.
walking,
Yep.
which I really like. And now they do videos while walking, getting their
And
Steppen
playing
points,
Gashero.
and
Yeah.
then playing Gashero. So they switch. I really like that. But you mentioned one thing, which is, by the way, he's in my guild. Shout out
Yeah. See him.
Shout out to you. Yes,
He's
he is
great.
in my guild. And what they have is so one question was multi-accounting. So you said
Yes.
you're still fine to a certain
Yes.
extent with multi-accounting, but if we saw, for example, in the clan, was it Clan Wars, the Rain guy, like, he's just fucking unbeatable. How do you beat
Yeah.
that guy? Like, he has so many accounts. Are you keeping it that way? I mean, I'm fine with
Yeah,
it.
I think so. So here's the thing, right? In Steppen, if you go buy 8 phones and put them in your pocket, you have an ability with one session of walking to farm so many tokens that hurts the tokenomics of the game. Gas Hero is a very different game because you're not going outside and exercising, right? And so Rain playing on 12 accounts or playing on 6 accounts or playing on 1 account is no different than being 12 separate players or 6 separate players or 1 player. So it doesn't hurt the tokenomics. It doesn't hurt the economy in any way for him to play on multiple accounts. So it's on us to build incentives, right, to make people wanted to play on a single account. So the ability to have the Gas Hero badge give you extra energy, the ability to upgrade your base construction vehicle to get extra energy, the ability to upgrade your skill tree, having all that, like all the heroes you recycle go into 1 account and upgrade that skill tree and that stuff that carries over to the next season. There's a benefit to putting that all on 1 account. But there's nothing intrinsically wrong with him playing multiple accounts. That's okay, right? And this is the Gas Wars from last time around, and so much fun to watch these
I think
lineups.
I need to do that on YouTube over here because it's not loading. But there I saw, like, in the end when you had Rain, like, he came in and just smashed. Like,
Dominated.
I
He
think
had
he
legendary heroes and epic heroes and like crazy lineups with crazy weapons and a lot of the same code names that I've been mentioning, which is really
hmm.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and he like I think with his first lineup, I think you could have two fight against like or every two you change the account, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So if your lineup fights somebody's on the other team, if you beat that lineup on the other team and then a second lineup on the other team, even if you have all your health left, then both reset. So each lineup, each member of your clan can only fight two members of the other clan before they rotate. Otherwise, one dominant account could wipe out the whole other account. So then the order of your lineup starts to make a lot of benefit, because then all of a sudden, if you got your strongest person first and then they kill the first two, and then your second strongest person last, or vice versa, then you make sure that your two top people always have an ability to kill two. But if you put your strongest person, let's say third in the order, and that third person comes in and the person they come in against only has one hero left with a little bit of energy, it's going to knock that person out. Well, that's one of the two lineups wiped out, and now they only really get to knock out one strong person from the other team. So
hmm.
optimizing the order of your lineup is important. As we come into
But
this next
you
Gas
don't know
Wars,
who
it's
you're
the
up
guild.
against with
You
also and
don't.
how they have their
You
setup,
don't.
right? So you never
No.
know.
No,
So, but
but
I saw
having a
people
strong at
scouting.
first and last is important, right? It's the same thing
Yeah,
with like doing a tug of
the
war, right? You always want
Staffellauf.
that anchor
Yeah,
person to be really strong. Yeah.
yeah. I was always the last running in my school, so I
I
was
love it.
good
I
at
love it.
running.
Same thing on
So
the relay
yeah,
race. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, and on the next one, so like also you shoutcast them now, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So people can see them. They can also watch them live. And like you were sitting there, oh now we have a legendary hero with this weapon and this lineup, and I was sitting there. How the fuck do you see
Oh.
who is having what? And like I was sitting there, you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, now he's fighting with the Hail Mary guy on the left and doing this, and I was like, okay, you play way too much.
I do.
No,
I
yeah,
do.
but
I have the fortune of this being my full-time job. So I get to play all day.
yeah, I get that. I'm number 11 in medieval empires, and there are still people that grind way harder than I do.
That's wild.
So playing that all day, and then now you also have so guild wars, right?
Yes,
Um,
yeah. Guild of
what?
Thrones and then the Guild Gas War. Yep. So the
Yeah.
Guild Gas War is going to be interesting because instead of a clan fighting a clan, this will now be a guild fighting a guild. So it rotates every 10 days. The first 10 days was the solo PvP, solo gas war. The second 10 days was the group clan gas war. And now we have the group guild gas war. So this will be fun to see how this happens. And we'll shoutcast this one again.
Hmm. There's also
Yep.
one question. If you can give us alpha about the new PvPs that are being designed.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that are coming, and I can't reveal too much. I can tell you that there's going to be an AMA on Friday.
Hmm.
Johnny and Mabel will both be there, and I think you'll be pleased and you'll be excited about some of what is told. I think a part of this that they've already hinted at is a potential of an additional PvP outside of Gas Wars, that we can play that will benefit a lot of people in the game, not just the reigns of the world. I think that'll be fun. I can't probably say more than that. And the other is the way that maybe the PvP's paid out, where if like the leader gets everything versus everybody gets everything, ways to really incentivize the minnows of the game to play PvP and give them fun ways to
Hmm.
play as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I will have any chance. I'm always last in guild or second last in guild, but
Yeah.
I think the part of being in the community, and we, by the way, now last time I always said Sydney. Sydney's dead. Everyone joined Buenos Aires now.
All of a sudden, it's fun.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
social part of the game, right?
I
Yeah.
got like I got a moving item just so we moved the whole guild over, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So they said like, hey, we all join over there, and then they had like, and they even have in the don't get me on the auction house. They have times when where who and how should bid and stuff like this. That's really cool. So it's a whole. That's what I love
Whole
about those
setup.
games. Yeah, you have a micro family and then you have
Yeah.
like your community. Like it's the same, I live here with 40 other guys, or not guys, other houses, right? And then you
Yeah.
have they all have their part, and we have a small area where we talk, and
Communal
then we have
areas. Yeah.
like that's I like those kind of communities, and they talk with each other. I was on a space with some of the Stepan ambassadors, so they invited me as well. Said like,
Cool.
hey, let's talk a little bit, share your beginner story, and they were so open and really
Yeah.
nice. So yeah, shout
It's a
out
fun
to
community that we've cultivated. I
yeah.
really enjoy being a part of it, and it's going to be fascinating over time to see how it plays out, because there will be those leaders, right, that keep everything for themselves, and they do things that maybe aren't so kind and so nice, and there'll be those others that are on the extreme opposite side, where they come up with these really defined rules, and all the money that the leaders earn, and all the money that's won in the group adventures, and all the money that's won from the PvP will then be sent out equally to everybody on the team. And then some people will be based on performance, and some
Yeah,
people will be equal, and some people, and then somebody might try to come in and take over and like steal that money from a team that's trying to share it to everybody. And that's a
that's
big
why
part
we
of the
left.
game, that
That's
social
why we
piece.
left Sydney, because the dude that wanted to share with everyone didn't win.
Didn't.
I think Ellen was his name, but
Yeah.
instead one of the whales won, and he won't share with anyone. I don't know how he got the votes besides his multi accounts, but like the dude that actually said I will share with everyone, he didn't get to get all the votes. So that's why we now shifted to somewhere where they
Love
share
it.
the wealth that they get and like have a more community feeling. By the way, shout out Anastasia. I was on her
She's
space.
great.
Uh,
Yeah.
like afterwards, we wrote a little bit as well. So really cool onboarding to the whole community over there. That was really nice as well. And there, so we have the what is so we have the what is the difference? So we have the Gas Wars and Guild of Thrones, right?
Yes, yeah. So
Um,
Gas Wars has three versions. It's the solo, and then the clan, which is a group, and then the guild, which is a group. And this is, and then the other thing is the Guild of Thrones. And so Guild of Thrones is the brand new thing that we just announced. Guild of Thrones is actually it's an initiative to draw these big gaming guilds into Gas Hero and get them to play. So we have an application window, and then we have an ability. There you go, Guild of
mm,
Thrones. So during this application window, they can apply. It ties into them making content, having a specific Gas Hero channel in their Discord servers. We can give them a group of items that will be locked to the accounts to get them started. And then if they do well, and they get a lot of their guild members to participate and make content, then they can win a bunch of stuff as well. And so the idea is, how do we go out and attract some of these big gaming guilds that aren't playing Gas Hero yet into play?
I have a really cool guild called the Draculas.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, there's not a big gaming guild behind that, but like also those small guilds, I think they do
They're
really amazing
perfect.
jobs.
Yeah,
So if you
absolutely.
if you
And we
want to
encourage
drop
them all to
something
apply and be a
to the
part. Yeah.
Draculas,
Yeah.
go ahead. They are really cool dudes. If you drop them some stuff, that's really cool. I had one other question. So yeah, so if you're a guild or like a bigger community, just apply over there. Then you can set your lineup, do some content, get some based on traffic. I think you can get some GMT rewards as well. And afterwards, can you keep all the stuff that you have then? Right after the duration, after the
I think
32
so. I'd
days.
have to read into details, but my understanding
Yeah.
is that the initial stuff is locked. So it's not like a guild can apply, win entry, and then sell everything right away. But I,
Hmm.
I think I think if they play the whole way, and they it ends up unlocking the stuff at some point.
Hmm.
That, at least that's my understanding.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
need a Discord server for that as well. I just read up to it. So
I
yeah.
would think so,
Uh,
yeah, because they have to have a
yeah.
channel and they have to create content, or if they want a chance to win, yeah.
Yeah. We have a Discord group chat, so that
Perfect.
counts from now on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that one we have, and then there was one question that I saw is advanced breeding. What is
Yes.
advanced breeding? I
So
just
advanced breeding
read.
was a little bit that I was talking about before. So thinking about what parents you're using and
Hmm.
what's the floor price of the parent gives you a much higher likelihood of getting babies that
Ah,
then will
yeah.
sell at a higher floor price, right? Think about
Hmm.
how many breeds each parent has. So when I set up my breeding farm, what I want to do is initially all the brand new NFTs have 0 breeds on them. And then I breed all those parents and they all have 1 breed on them and the babies have 0. And then I breed those parents again, they all have 2 breeds on them. And now some of the babies now have their first breed and the new babies have 0. So if I'm going to sell some off, I'm not going to sell my virgins that have 0 breeds. I'm going to sell off the parents that have 2, right? And
Oh,
or
yeah.
upgrade them and see how many skills unlock to determine
Then
if I
you.
want to try to put them in my lineup. So I'm selling off the 2 breed parents because that's when the breeding becomes more expensive, and saving my 1s and my 0s. And then you can try to match up, right? Do I want to breed 0 0s, or do I want to breed 1 0s? And then I can always sell the 2s, upgrade the 0s, level them up to level 10, and then you kind of set up this rotation. As you try to
Hmm.
build into your mind, like how to make this advanced, a couple different pieces then that come in, right? You want to think about, what is their type? Are these tanks? Are they damage? Are they support? What do I need, right? What do I potentially need in my lineup? Breeding ones that you need to replace ones that you already have. That could be a benefit. The floor price of them could be a benefit. Breeding ones that are trading above floor or that you need in your own personal lineup, then give you added benefit when you hit twins and when you hit a higher rarity. Because now all of a sudden, if Black Sapphire and Deadly Nightshade are your 2 favorite, not only do they trade higher for when you sell off those 2 breed parents, but then when you get one that's twins, or you get an uncommon, that's an uncommon that have a choice to either sell at a higher rate and buy multiple additional commons or pets or weapons, or then
That's
you
what I
got that
did.
uncommon of the one that you like. Yep, and that works great. It
Hmm.
works really well. A
Hmm.
couple other added things that you can add in as well, but that at least get you started to like thinking down the line of kind of advanced breeding strategies and setting up breeding farms.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. I mean, I have no breeding farm over here. It works so far. I got up. I mean, I put an initial investment in to like get the game going because I didn't want to start at zero the whole time.
Sure.
So I bought a couple of those, and now I have a think almost sufficient. But I didn't breed any ladies, so that was my weak spot. I
Yeah.
just got dudes out of there, and I wanted
Yeah.
to have more
Having
ladies.
half female, half male makes a difference, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that was. But now I
Hmm.
got a female, which I needed because if you see on my breeding over here, I all my mothers over here are already at 3 or 4,
Yep.
but they're all in the lineup. Now I have one mother which I can breed. I don't put her directly in the lineup because I still have her for
Yep.
a couple of days over here. So then I'm already safe. Hopefully, get another woman that I can breed. And I'm still fascinated that we talk about breeding and selling virgins over here.
Did it funny?
That always sounds so nice. Like we're
Yep.
selling, don't sell your virgins, but the
Oh
virgins are
boy.
the one that are like it's
The
yeah,
virgins are worth more money.
right, yeah. So and when they die, or when you recycle them afterwards, you get the skill points, and
Yes.
with those skill points, you cannot like basically it's obvious what you need to do, right? You just unlock the
You would
skills over
think
here.
it broke my brain the first time I played with it. I don't know why, but my gamer brain looked at this, and to me, the skill at the bottom would have been the first one that my brain would have said to upgrade. And I would have worked my way on that skill tree from the roots of the tree up to the leaves up top. So see how it kind
Hmm.
of looks like a upside down T? I would have thought
Yeah.
the bottom middle skill would be the first one you'd
Oh,
unlock.
I
And then
started
you kind of
here.
work your way up to the top. That's how it's supposed to be. So it's the way that
Okay.
you did it. I had to figure that out. Like it didn't work for me, but this matches exactly with like the way the skills are. So what you want to think about is like when you recycle a hero, right? It gets the end of the lifespan. It'll go over to that recycle screen. Each one that you recycle comes from each one of those different factions, right? And so there's the different factions that are across the type. So if you recycle a spiritual, you're going to get those materials to upgrade spiritual. And then down
Hmm.
on the and so spiritual would be the far right one. So there's 6 different factions there. That'd be the far right one. Those are the spirituals. And so within the spirituals, you see there's 8 different code names for each faction. So going down the left-hand side of the screen, those are the 8 code names. So you have an ability then to pick which code name in that faction do you want to upgrade. And you're like, well, I got a high priestess. So I want to make sure I upgrade that one, number 7. And then you want to go to the top node of number 7 and upgrade it. Now you also have a reset button there that gives you an ability to go back and have a way to reset mistakes. This is also something that can carry forward to future seasons, right? So a few different
Hmm.
things here that can get really interesting if you find certain factions that you really like. Like I'm using Evos and Spirits. Then if I'm constantly recycling evos and spirits, I'm constantly getting the materials to upgrade the skill trees of heroes and spirit of evos and spirits. But what happens if you're stuck and you're like right on the edge of beating the next higher level PvE, or you're right on the edge of beating somebody out in your clan to get clan boss? There's nothing that
Then
stops you from going and looking in my inventory and saying, hey, I got this extra battery hero I'm not using, or I can go buy the cheapest Evo or the cheapest spirit off the floor, right? This isn't one I want to put in my lineup. It's not a popular hero. Then you can recycle that to give you extra materials to upgrade your skill, because each one of these upgrades then gets you a bigger percentage and what those skills are actually doing in the game, which is really interesting. Dan there with a common misconception. So it's not actually 7 points for each common hero, Dan. It depends on how much that common hero is upgraded. So if you have a level 1 hero that you recycle, you get a certain number of points. If it's a level 10, you get more points. If it's a level 20, I think that's the max that gets you at 7 points. I don't have the numbers memorized and committed to memory, but it seems like it might be like 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, something like that. I think it's 6 at level 10 and 7 at level 20 for the commons. So there could be incentives. I did this with my 4 free heroes. So a lot of people, conventional wisdom was the 4 free heroes, don't level them
don't
up
level them
above.
up.
And now they locked it where you can't take them
Ah,
beyond level 3. I purposely leveled all mine to 10 because I got 6 points for each one of them. Had I left them, I believe, at level 3, I would only got 5 points for each.
yeah, I
And
got
had I been
5
able to
for
take them to
each. Yeah.
20, I would have got 7 for each. Yeah.
I mean, that's a math that you need to do if you want to focus on the skills, or if you wanted to directly upgrade and like use those on another one which you actually use in a lineup. And
Yep.
I get the math, but then in the beginning I had this lady over here.
Yeah.
That's why I got like the points for that faction, which I just put on the first thing that I saw over here.
Yep. Yep.
But if I want to focus, for example, on getting her, I should go here and put it in here. Can I reset as often as I want to?
Yeah, but
Or
I think there's a cost to it. You might want to try it. If you go back to that first one, yeah, there's a cost in GMT. Yeah.
it's 0 for me right now, because most
Good.
likely the first one is for free.
Maybe the first one's free and then it goes up the more you reset.
I
I
will
could
not
totally
hit on
see
the
that. I've
button
not
yet.
done any resets yet, but
Yeah,
I knew there was a cost baked in.
yeah.
Yeah.
I will focus on this dude over here most likely,
Mm-hmm.
and I got him and this dude now. So I think I have 3 evolutionists, 4 evolutionists. Maybe I just do a full evolution. Is one of those ladies
Totally
a
could.
healer over here?
I don't think
No,
so.
right?
So here, I can look on
No,
my sheet, and when I go to code name, I'm gonna
because I
select
have the
all
high priestess, which I really like.
and do faction. So if I do faction spiritual, spiritual has 2 tanks, 3 damage, and 3 support. For Evo, there's only tanks and damage. There are no
Ah,
support.
okay.
Is that what you're asking on the
Yeah,
Evos?
then I
Yeah.
take those guys for tank and damage and use the other one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Evo has 6 tanks and 2 damage. Mm-hmm.
Dan also said a hero that is locked in the lineup can be recycled only if it's level 20.
Is that true? I've not tried that. I'm not. I guess I always max upgrade mine before I add them to the lineup, but I've never tried to recycle a hero that wasn't at max. Interesting.
And it's 10 GMT. Like Dan, did you write the white paper, Dan? He knows
Right.
everything.
So what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, Dan, is the ability to buy a hero off the floor, to not add it to your lineup, and to recycle it. And that's an
Hmm.
interesting mechanic that I think will play for the end of the season. So forecast 6 months from now, who knows what theoretically the time becomes, right? The world elders press that big red button. We get our 30-day timer. All the heroes start trending towards 0 value because you can't carry them the next season. Everything's going to wipe. So what happens? What do you farm for the last 30 days? What do you do with the heroes in your inventory for the energy? I would argue that we'll all start farming for gas cans, because we can use the gas cans to upgrade our base construction vehicles, and our base construction vehicles will give us more energy to farm for the last 30 days. And a big part of that upgrade of the base construction vehicle is going to be carried over to the next season. The other thing we'll do is we'll try to be buying the cheap heroes off the floor that are
Hmm.
for the factions that we're planned to use in the next season, because then we can upgrade the skill trees of those factions going into the next season.
Hmm.
And a big percentage of those will carry over
So
as well.
the hero cans and all that stuff that will still be carried on to the next
All
season,
the
right?
NFTs get deleted in the game except for the Genesis. So all your gas
Everyone?
cans, everything's gone. All your common heroes, all your uncommon heroes, all your pets, all your weapons, all your rare heroes, all the parts, all the everything gets wiped out. The only thing that goes is you've got this gas arc that shows up and sells gas arc tickets.
Hmm.
The gas hero badges carry over. The Genesis heroes carry over, and then part of your base construction vehicle upgrades and part of your skill trees carry over. Everything else, all the NFTs get wiped. It's like a brand new launch.
Can someone buy me a Genesis hero? By the way, you
Me too.
can win. You can win one. And base construction vehicles, will
The
they?
base construction vehicle itself doesn't get carried over, but the upgrades to it do. So my understanding is, and I had to go back to the white paper and verify it, but those that buy a gas arc ticket get free things for the next season. So they get a free BCV and a free common hero and they get like a pack of stuff.
Otherwise, I would
Those that have a
focus on going for the gas cans, build construction vehicles, maybe, and then maybe that's something. I
Yep,
could build one, but
yep,
it's not that lucrative at the moment. I rather
yep.
use the gas cans for breeding.
Yep.
But
I think
yeah,
the Gas
okay.
Hero badges also get some free stuff. I think the Gas Hero badge kind of acts like a gas arc ticket. I think they get some free stuff for the Gas Hero badge and for the ones that have the tickets. But I think the base construction vehicle itself goes. It's that you leveled up your account to, like, say, level 10. We could bring up the white paper really quick and verify it. I think it's something like there's a randomized number somewhere between 80% to 100% of that upgrade you get to carry. And so it randomizes it for everybody.
Yeah, we can. I mean, if you're interested in that, then feel free to just like, or someone can look it up. Yeah. So one other thing that people can do at the moment, you also have UGC contest. So
Yes.
I'm really shooting for not seven Genesis heroes, but to get one of those Genesis heroes. Then you have base construction vehicles, which is cool also to onboard some of your friends to the game, and common DNA fragments. What you need to do is put Gas Hero and playing Gas Hero and tag Gas Hero official, and then like that's why you have lots of cool content as well. If you go just through playing Gas Hero through the hashtag, then you see lots of the content that has been created by the guys. This one, for example, don't forget to like and retweet. Uh, and yeah, so lots of cool content. And yeah, so is there anything else that based on strategy that we need to cover so that we are prepared for the guild wars? And I mean, for the game of Guild of Thrones we cannot do anything, but for the next guild wars, I
Yeah,
mean,
for the
have a
next
cool
the
guild,
next
of
guild level
course.
gas war. So two tips I'll give you here. If you have heroes that are dying and are getting replaced, you need to go back in and reset your group adventure lineup, right?
Hmm.
So you've got your solo lineup, you've got your group adventure lineup, and then when you register for Gas Wars, you've got that Gas War lineup. If your heroes changed, you need to reset that. And so some people don't intrinsically remember to do that. I think you can see it if you click on the little icon there on the bottom right that's got the two swords. Doesn't that show all the group lineups?
Yeah.
And so if you scroll down to yours, once you delete off some of your and recycle some, then these will be blank spots. And so you want to edit it and then add in the new guys that you add to your solo lineup, add it here as well. And then for the Gas War,
Look
another
over
one.
here. Drop 94%.
Yeah,
By the
yeah,
way, guys, we will start that tomorrow, and then I will get
nice,
some
fun.
cool stuff over here.
Yeah,
Yeah, so don't
fun.
forget to set your lineup then, new. I have a cool guild over here. Shout out to
Yeah,
you
for
guys.
sure.
Like those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
So yeah.
Another tip: the order of the clan can be important. So if you want to adjust that, you want to adjust that far enough in advance that you're not getting locked out.
Hmm.
Similarly, within the guild, the guild leader gets to determine what order the clans themselves go in. So they can go set that order. And so when your guild leader goes and enters your guild into the group gas war, the guild gas war, they want to set that order as well, the order of the clans within the guild. And then the clans can set their orders within the clan, but they have to use move items to do that.
Yeah, I think they did that before. So who's going where, which position you're going, and I should be on. I think they put me on a position because I'm not the best player, so I'm not on top and not in the end. But yeah, totally makes sense. And those move items, I think they're pretty cheap right now, so they're not that expensive
They're not
anymore.
bad. They're not bad right now. No, I did find
Yeah.
that answer too. So those that don't get a gas art ticket out of the auction house, they're going to have to buy a brand new base construction vehicle. That's what I thought. The gas arc ticket would give them a base construction vehicle if they get one. After you settle down with your new base construction vehicle in the new season, what you'll find is that your base level decreases by 5. So I guess if you got it all the way up to 10, it'll come down to 5. So you lose part of what you upgraded. And then for the skill levels in the skill tree, it resets all those skill points. And then the total number of skill points is decreased by 25%. So, so
Okay, but
you'll keep most of it. You'll keep 75% of your skill points. So a lot of people at the end of the season might be able to snipe a lot of heroes off the floor, recycle them for points, get all those points on their account, and they'll keep 75% of those going to the next season to give them an advantage starting off in the next season.
I mean, I'm excited to see the floor and the movement shortly
It's gonna be
before that.
fun.
And
Yeah.
we most likely will need to do a session like this. So you explain what exactly I need to do and what I need to
sure.
sweep and how that's working. Because that's a whole, like, that's what I like about the seasonal stuff. You have like, it's not getting boring. Like sometimes in games you have like just one thing that you're doing over and over again. They maybe add small features, but in this you can have a fresh restart. By the way, if you restart new, like there will be no heroes except Genesis heroes on the marketplace for that time. Do I get that right? Because everything will be destroyed.
Everything will be wiped out. Yeah.
So then
Yep.
most likely the floor price will drop a lot from the heroes because everyone wants to get rid of those before everything ends,
The
right?
last 30 days, it'll drop to pretty much zero, right? People will recycle for the skills. And then when the new season launches, there'll be very limited ones. Those with the gas arc tickets, they'll get a free base construction vehicle. I think they get maybe 300 hero parts. And so similar to before, right? They'll get some starting assets. And so if those are the only assets in the game, they'll potentially be worth a lot because there won't be an infinite number of gas arc tickets. So if there's fewer items than there are people, then those first few days they'll be really expensive, and then you got the auction houses and you've got the ability of those things to be bred, and so it's like relaunching the game brand new again.
And the gas how do they get the gas arc tickets again? What do they?
So 7 days in, there's a reset button that's pushed by the 7 world elders that starts a 30-day timer. 7 days in the auction house, gas arc tickets go on sale. And so you're bidding to have the highest price at the end of the 4-hour window. And the ones that get the bids right will win a gas arc ticket that gets them free stuff and free seat on the arc to carry them into the next season. Those
So I
that
will
don't
die.
win
I
can
will
try
not
to
make
trade
it.
for those on the marketplace or go get themselves a gas hero badge or wait to get in. And then the way that the financials works is that normally the auction house pays 50% of the money that's collected out to PvP. Once that button's pushed for the gas arc, I think 100% of the profits from the auction house go to the world elders. So then they get to fight this balance in their brain of like, okay, as a world elder, we had to spend a lot of GMT to get this position to build up our account. Do we really want to push that button and wipe out all our assets and take away that income that we're generating? Well, if that income drops down and the meta gets stale and all of a sudden we think we'll get even more income from hitting the reset button and getting the profit from selling those tickets, then that's what they have to balance in their mind.
That, and maybe they get bored at a certain stage and just want to start new. They have a cool strategy. Most likely those guys are whales anyway and make money somehow. Yeah, I will not be at the position to push a button, but I will be there to check out when you push the button and what happens. And I think that's a really cool concept of the game. I like that. But you said that will not happen in the next weeks, right? That will.
Can't, because there aren't even 7 world elders voted yet, right? So
Yeah.
there's a minimum amount of time before they can even be voted into the game. Once they're voted in, they're spending a lot of GMT to get the position, so they're going to wait a minimum amount of time before they'd even debate pushing the button to try to recoup that investment, right? And then it's going to be up to them from then to like this gray window of when does the meta feel stale, when are the NFTs oversupplied and drop in value, where it makes more sense for them to reset it than to leave it go. And it's up to them.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. Is there any tip that I need right now on my lineup that I have over here? I think I'm fine except for the
I think
weapons,
you're
and I
doing good. Yeah.
need to get some more pets because I don't have pets. But
I got a curiosity. I don't actually know the answer to this one, Luke. Let's say that you've got your nano swamp there, bottom middle. And let's say your nano swamp is getting ready to die in 10 days. When he's down to only an hour left, she's down to only an hour left. Can you recycle the weapon that's on the nano swamp before the nano swamp dies and get some weapon reforging material? And then the nano swamp dies, and then you recycle the hero and also get the hero's skill points?
But
versus if you let it die with the weapon on there, do you not get the reforging material? Like, is there a science to recycling the weapon before it comes off? I don't think you can you?
But I cannot.
I wonder how
like
that plays.
I can only reforge it, but I cannot take it off, right?
I don't think you can, right? I don't think you can take it off and recycle it. I think you can only recycle a weapon that's not equipped.
Yeah, Dan says no. I don't think you can. Wouldn't make, because otherwise I could go and recycle it right now, but that's not working, right? Once it's equipped, I'm not able to recycle it.
So what happens if I take and put a new weapon on a hero in the lineup that already has a weapon? Does that recycle the weapon that's already on it and give me some reforging material?
I could show you if I would have another weapon.
But you don't have another weapon. Yeah.
So that's
fun edge cases. My brain loves those edge cases. Try to figure out how all that stuff works.
And that's how you create and sometimes
some crazy strategies. Yeah.
Sometimes game designers do that on purpose, right? They have 100%. Such loopholes in the game, let the community discover it, and then they create a loop of, we found a secret and now everyone is exploiting it, and they sit there like, ha ha ha, exactly how I planned it.
That's it.
That's cool.
Yeah. I can take this cheap weapon and equip it on a hero that's already got a weapon, and the reforging material I get out of it is worth more than what the cheap weapon was off the floor, and then I create this loop of this, there's always fun stuff.
Dan will make a video on this.
Cool, Dan. Perfect.
Yeah, I like that. There are lots of strategies. Also, as we said in the beginning, if you're a beginner like me, there are different kinds of possibilities. So you can go with me. I wanted to have a full setup just to check how cool it's looking to fight with 6 instead of 2. But we checked a couple of videos where you can fight with 2 if you equip weapons and pets. I love pets. I don't know if you played Palworld or some of
great game.
The other games that just whenever you can have a pet, I want to have a pet. And Dan says he'll burn
a weapon and try it. Nice, Dan. Fun.
Dan is the man.
Fun.
Another
one that you're going to benefit from, that I think a lot of people would benefit from that are at your stage of the game, having these staggered the way that you have, where your Death's Hand is going to die first and then a different one dies a few days later, and your nano swamp's still good 10 days away. It makes it to where you're not having to replace all 6 heroes and all 6 pets and all 6 weapons at the same time.
But that's also based on my wallet.
When you added them.
Because I couldn't afford all of them at the same time.
No, but I think that's for most people. Most people had their 4 free, and then maybe they added 1 on the back row, and then a second one on the back row, and the 4 free died, and then they added 1 more, and then they added another 1 more, so that it staggers it. There's definitely benefits of that in the long run as you start mixing and matching an uncommon within the last 30 days instead of 20. And so I agree. I think it's
the only problem.
Fun too.
The problem is if you don't get a damage and you need to replace the damage, maybe then you're. But that's what I tried with having this one. So I have her now to replace my priestess. I have him for the damage. I can take him as a tank.
Spoiler Lord,
want to get another one of this dude over here
Mm-hmm.
in order to put him in front. So I think I'm on a way to get there because he will die soon, right? I can
Yeah.
replace him with the death hand. Then
Yep.
I still need her to be replaced, I think. But I could also use. No, you cannot have two of the same heroes at the same time, right?
Not the same code name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I did see a weird thing where it looked like somebody had two different rarities of the same code name, and maybe they were allowed to equip them. I don't think they were supposed to
Hmm.
be. So that might have been a bug that's already been
So you
fixed.
can have a Genesis, a Legendary, an Epic, an Uncommon, and a Common.
Wouldn't that
So
be wild
five,
if that happened? If you
five
had
of the
five
same.
same code name? I don't think it
Then,
works in the
then
game,
if
but
you're still
it'd be fun to
watching,
test. Go test it, Dan.
go test it.
Yep. Get you a
Yeah,
common priestess and an uncommon priestess and a rare priestess and a Genesis priestess. See if you can equip them
yeah,
all.
yeah. That would be a side. And then like, oh, that maybe you're just power healing the whole time then, like, and then no one can beat you.
Dude, there's an
Well, that,
interesting thing. So remember this too. People will create lineups like that. I saw one of
hmm,
them in I don't remember, it was the internal test or the community test. And so this is what can end up happening. If you make a 6 support team and have, let's say, 2 that stun and 2 that group heal and 2 that individual heal, on all of the PvP fights, there's also a timer at the top of the screen.
goes
And so
forever. They
it doesn't.
create
It only goes for
almost
3 minutes max.
no.
And
I mean,
even though you're still alive, you might not win the fight.
ah, yeah, and that was one of the first things I discovered because I had a lineup, and then I fought for power cans on easy 3, and I didn't finish because
Didn't
I
finish in
was
the timer. You ran out of
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I just had
You couldn't do enough damage. You could stay alive for the whole 3 minutes, but you couldn't do enough
because I
damage
had
to wipe them out.
two
You
healers
still
and the
failed.
damage dude which didn't
Yeah.
had a
And your
weapon.
healers weren't doing enough damage. Yeah.
Right, and those two guys they didn't do damage, but I still had lots of health left, and I was like, "What? I could
Mhm.
beat easy level 3, but it didn't work out." So yeah, always
Yep.
have a. That's what we spoke about first, right? The tanks, damage, support, get your lineup straight, check the weapons and everything, and
That's it.
then you're good to go. What happens if I hit? Oh, reset is just like the lineup that I would switch, right? Yeah. Does it make sense to burn one of the heroes earlier? Do I get a like more fragments or stuff like this? Or
No, it's same number of skill points to upgrade the skill tree. The only advantage would be I've got an uncommon in my inventory, and I want to try to get that uncommon into my lineup sooner so that I'm like
yeah,
getting the
okay.
benefit out of it now.
Hmm.
I personally waited until all my heroes died before I replaced them, even though I was upgrading commons to uncommons because I wanted to get the max out of them that I could. So there's different strategies there. Certainly, if you've got a certain PvP match coming up and you need to be stronger, or a boss fight coming up and you want to win the clan leadership position, you might upgrade early. That's what the whales do, right? They went
Yeah.
from commons to uncommons to rares to deleting off rares to throw on epics and legendaries. So they were recycling early just because they wanted the strongest team possible. For me, I'm trying to get
Sometimes
as much out of those heroes as I can before I recycle them.
sometimes what they also do, they don't put their lineup and only when the fight starts
Hide it.
because they don't want to see that or that other people can scout their lineup. And I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
what?
hard to scout though. It's hard to go to a different clan that's not in your district or guild and easily see exactly what their lineup is and see what their
Yeah,
pets are. Do their pets have 4 attributes or 3? What are their
that's
weapons?
true.
Their weapons have
Yeah,
4 attributes or 3. How many skills are unlocked? It's easier if you
yeah.
have their wallet. If you have their wallet, I can do it pretty easy. But within the game, it gets a little harder. There's certain tricks that I think people are learning to try to investigate, but it's easier to see on the blockchain than it is in the game.
Nowadays you can basically check almost everything by just going
The
through the
wallets
stuff
are
over
there,
here,
brother. The wallets are
and
there. Yeah.
you see everything. Like you
Yeah.
see all the wallets from and
Yeah.
through that you can just go your way through if you
Yeah.
don't have a
And
life.
chances are, like a whale who's got a chance of winning the PvP event, they're going to be in the top 25 wallets. Like you can start going through and figure out who's who.
Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of them have names
hero
on them too.
Gashero coupons. Okay, I need to get in contact with that dude over here, but I think that's most likely you. I
Yeah.
mean, with you, I mean the
The
gas
team.
hero,
Yeah.
the
The team
team,
has a lot of
the
coupons we're
marketing
still
wallet.
giving out as awards and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marketing events. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, for those that watch till the end, there are some tips that were given. Uh, check out the whole video if you want to, and I will pick James' brain once my lineup is a little bit more like advanced. Maybe in 1 or 2 weeks we can check again if there's something happening, and then we can also check on the Guild Gas Wars or something like this. And latest, when we have the elders elected and think about strategies, maybe then we can go back to this. I really appreciate you taking your time, also, like not only in this live broadcast, but also in all the Twitter spaces that you go to, like even small Twitter spaces, or we also have the new era of gaming from Medieval Empires, which you
Yeah.
joined last week. Always nice seeing you guys like have a touch with the community, and I think that's what you guys also brought from Steppen over. So like having hands-on stuff with the community and also take their feedback, because I think you got a lot of feedback also on the accounting, on the upgrades and everything. So and that's what I wanted to say as an outsider of Gas Hero. That is not something that you can implement like this, right?
Yeah.
So feedback goes through a loop, and then there are game designers behind that. Then you have to take it to the UI, UX part. Then like the developers need to do something. Maybe it's a contract change. Maybe that happens to be from somewhere else. So don't think that if something's not working, they directly can fix it. That's my number one thing, which I learned from our game, which
Yeah,
takes
especially if
forever.
you got a third-party development team, right? Like most of these games don't have internal developers that are on the
Yeah.
clock 24/7 and can't fix it. We're fortunate at FSL. I've got over 100 internal developers that work for FSL. So that
Hmm.
gives us a massive advantage
Can
in
you
that,
can
you
you
know.
put some
Yeah,
over
yeah,
to
yeah.
me?
Share some over.
For
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. They're
yeah. We
really
don't
cheap
have
too. They
we
won't
don't
cost you
have that money.
more than a couple $100,000 each to come over and help out.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we can just for a short time.
Just
No,
sure.
yeah, but I mean, you had a good foundation with Steppen on coming
That was it.
coming in.
That
So
was it.
yeah, yeah. So shout out to everyone that watched. Thanks for everyone that's still tuning in. I see still a couple of people joining in and out. Shout out to Dan for giving us the alpha in here as well in the chat, and to the other guys that joined. And if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I will later go through them. I have no clue what I will answer because I don't know how it's working, but we will figure it out until the next week. And shout out to the Draculas, which I'm in, and you're in Hong Kong, right? Shout
Me?
out. Yeah, are you
No,
or
I'm in the States.
in the States? I mean, in the game,
Oh, in the game, I'm New York 111.
New York. Okay,
Yeah.
so shout out to New York. Shout out to everyone that is in Buenos Aires.
Mhm.
And I hope you will implement Berlin, because then I will force the Draculas to move to Berlin
There
as
you
well
go. Yeah.
in the
There'll be
game.
175 cities eventually. It'll work its way out. We started with the first 15.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. So that's based on like how many users you most likely get in the game. If it's
Absolutely.
exploding, then you get
Yep.
in more. Okay, yeah, makes sense. And yeah, if you don't have any questions, I think I went through all the questions that I got from the guild and from the whole, what is above guild. I always forget that, from the whole
District.
district. Yeah,
Yep.
because now we also work together with the district somehow. And yeah, shout out to guys that tuned in, and we see each other on the next stream. Thanks, James.
Thank you,
Any
sir.
famous last words?
No, that's it. Thanks everybody for watching.
All right, then
Yeah.
see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys. Did I need to press the button?